Good morning and welcome to Man and Machine's latest events in our series of the Future in Design and Build episodes. My name is Nathan Brownsword, the sales manager here at Man and Machine, and I'll be chairing the session today. Finally, it feels like the first day of summer, and today is an action-packed event as we've got plenty to show you in terms of not only what's new in terms of technology, but also what we've been working on. I'll come to the agenda very shortly, but before I do, just want to make sure that, like I say, in terms of what we're doing today and what we're talking about, we're not going to be talking about the events of the last year in terms of coronavirus, pandemic, COVID-19. You won't be hearing from us today at all. We'll be talking to you solely about in terms of preparing from the new world point of view in terms of what technology can do to help your organization, your business, and support you. And we look and talk to people and talking about things such as the sustainability that the projects we've been working on. So there's an awful lot to cover, which we'll come into, like I say, very, very shortly. But before I do, I want to talk to you a little bit about the full agenda for today. So just moving into what we'll be covering. So you're with me for this morning. We're talking about, like I say, Man and Machine, what we're doing as an organisation, what we do for people that are new to Man and Machine, and also people that are old as well, about some of the new technologies that we've been offering. We'll also be covering then a 10 o'clock session. Mark Calloway, one of our senior applications engineers, will be covering what's new in the 2022 versions of software and the key changes. There's been an awful lot over the last few months that have been coming out in terms of different programs. So there's a lot to cover. So it's a really exciting session that Mark's got for us this morning. Following on from that, Johnny will be on talking about the Autodesk Construction Cloud. He'll be covering in terms of all of the different variants in terms of what's in there, the transitions that have come from the old BIM 360 platforms, and giving you a snapshot of what each of those do. Further to that, it's then Man and Machine's own Robin Beals, our technical director, will be talking about the transition from 2D to 3D. And also a very nice application tool that can plug into Revit to really give you a nice look and feel in terms of your projects. So before we get onto that, just a bit about Man and Machine. So in terms of, you probably know us in respect of being Autodesk Platinum Partners. We're spread throughout multiple different countries across Europe, many different offices, both in the UK and overseas. One thing to note, more recently, we've actually now become the largest platinum partner globally that Autodesk has. And in terms of what that really brings us is a wealth of knowledge in terms of the core applications, both from a design point of view, but also in terms of collaboration, and more importantly at the moment, in terms of remote working, sharing and information and so on. We also have our own applications. You'll notice from the orange logos, but they're Man and Machine own software. Probably a bit more akin to the European market and mainland Europe in that respect, but certainly there's an opportunity, hopefully not too distant future, to bring one of those technologies, BIM Booster, into the UK. With that comes, we also have I suppose a lot of exclusive relationships with other software vendors that really complement all of the Autodesk offerings that we do offer. So be it from a conceptual design point of view, detailed design, visualization, looking at VR, going through to clash detection, model coordination, whatever it may be, all the way through to FM, we can support you, and we have technologies and solutions available for you that we can not only train on, but we can consult on and support you each step of the way. All of this is underpinned by the work we're also doing with the UK Bim Alliance and Building Smart. We've been extremely busy over the last 18 months, especially during the lockdown period and what's been happening. Actually supporting these organisations, both from a technical point of view, but also one of our directors feeling very strongly about the work the UK BIM Alliance is doing. You've probably seen a lot of changes come out, especially with the transition to the new ISO 19650 standards, and that's something we'll come on to very, very shortly. So one thing to talk about in terms of our offerings, I think it's been very much a challenge in terms of how we actually train and support our customers over the last few months. Training in particular has been quite a big thing for us, especially over the last few months, but actually delivering that now remotely as opposed to on site. We've actually been doing this with our own interactive classrooms that have really replicated what it feels like to be sat in a classroom with other people and actually being able to communicate and share ideas and being able to really get to grips with it or work with the trainer. By using our interactive classrooms, we've been able to really start to push and pull both the student and the trainer's screen, so you can really replicate what's actually happening in the classroom. And that's been across the board in terms of all of our software training, but also in terms of some of our BIM offerings as well. We've actually seen that there's been a really high uptake over the last couple of years with our training in particular, both from a point of view of standard training, but also to meet specific project requirements. I think the days of trying to do scheduled courses or standard courses have long gone. The actual requirement now is to be able to deliver against your learning objectives to help you fulfill what's going on your projects. We've been doing that an awful lot, and especially with what we call our running start training. It's been able to take certain elements or select certain elements of standard courses or different software programs and be able to actually then create a little mini roadmap, so to speak, which you can then tick off along the way. Moving on to our BIM and digital offerings. So again, this is quite a big thing. I suppose it's a hot topic in terms of, like I say, the change with the ISO standard, and that's superseding PAS 1192 and BIM level 2. We've seen a really big drive, especially in this calendar year, in terms of people requiring training to understand what they're actually delivering on a project, and also being able to align all of their company standards and documentation and being able to actually work in a BIM and digital manner. So there's been an awful lot of work that we're doing, especially, like I say, with the UK Bim Alliance, and how that actually then reflects in terms of what we're working on with our customers and projects. One final thing to note, just in terms of our services. So we've also been working very closely with a lot of our customers in terms of actually on projects from an information delivery point of view. This has been really, well, we've seen an awful lot of this over the last couple of months, and I know I keep saying this, but it's been a real big drive in terms of actually getting people ready for the upturn and projects coming back and that change in requirements. So I know there's a couple of the team in particular, just a couple of senior consultants on our team that have been working both in the public sector and private to actually get them ready and be able to deliver to I suppose, a BIM point of view. One thing I want to talk about, and I will move on in terms of what we've been doing, but one key thing for us is actually Dynamo. So in terms of automation, automating tasks, design ideas, and creating increasing productivity, or increasing productivity, that's been quite a big thing for us. And I think we've seen, I know Dynamo's been around for a little while, but we've seen a lot come out from our engineers that have been, a lot of requests come out from the team to help or to get involved with some of their projects. So I think Dynamo is certainly something that's been, like I say, been around for a long time. But in terms of what we're doing at the moment, it's something that if you haven't already looked at, it's definitely worth noting to help your business moving forward. So going on to Autodesk, I suppose it ties quite nicely in with the Dynamo point of view. So what's new with Autodesk? Autodesk have been quite busy and proactive, as we'll see, and we'll talk about in our next session with Mark at 10 o'clock. But in terms of what Autodesk have been doing, they've recently announced an acquisition of Innovase, who's a water infrastructure software company. We're going to see, hopefully, some more news come out over the coming months. I know that they've been busy, like I said, it's Innovase now, or Innovise, and also with SpaceMaker. So there's plenty more to come, and I think there's going to be some big news in terms of the integrations that they provide, maybe with a consolidation of software moving forward. Certainly it's one to keep an eye out on, and we're excited, and know a lot of the team are excited about these acquisitions. One thing to mention, though, to give special mention to, is actually the Autodesk Construction Cloud. Man and Machine are now Autodesk Construction Cloud elite partners. We're one of the very few globally and in the UK that can actually support you in terms of the new umbrella that Autodesk have released in terms of their construction cloud. What this means is, in terms of not only from a point of view of the BIM 360 side, we now have plenty of applications that can support you in terms of both from remote working point of view. So in terms of actually cloud sharing, file sharing, and actually having that offering inside of the AC collection, but also in terms of design collaboration as well from BIM Collaborate Pro. There's also other tools that we're starting to see a lot more or have had a lot more uptake and a lot more development. Things like takeoff, build, they've become a lot more prevalent over recent months. And there's certainly technology there, which Johnny's going to be showing very, very shortly, that complements, I suppose, all of the programs that you're using at the moment, and more so in terms of the projects you're working on. So moving on, I suppose, summarising in terms of some of the changes that have been happening. So key Autodesk announcements and changes. We've seen that there's been a whole, I suppose, catalogue of real changes that have gone on from an Autodesk point of view. One of the key ones that I want to talk to you about, and I think this is an area which I see, and it's my team is seeing certainly more often than not, is the management of software licensing. I think that it's no secret over the last year or so that in terms of security of information, and also in terms of organisations, it's important that you're having your software licensing consolidated and actually looked after. There's been quite a few things in this area that have actually created concern. I would certainly push you or recommend that you have a look into in terms of how your licensing, your Autodesk licensing in particular, is at the moment. And if there's anything that we can help you with, then look, there's always the account managers and a team here to support you. Another point that we've want to talk to you about, so in terms of a key announcement, is the Autodesk Construction Cloud. So now this is actually bring your own subscription model. What this means is that any program that you have, or any tool that you subscribe to, or you have as an entitlement within maybe your AC collection or within an organisation, you now have the ability to be invited into other projects. This is a big, big change, and I think it's something that I mentioned about when our last event earlier on in the year, but it's certainly one that's we've seen as a real driver to help connect different projects, people, organisations, and really make sure that there's a succinct workflow in place. Another key change, it's quite a big one, is over recent weeks, we've actually now had the 0% finance programme being made available by Autodesk. So this is available to the end of June. There are quite a few T's and C's that actually go along with this in terms of the 0% side. What it will mean is that there's an opportunity for both customers, new and old, to leverage a 0% program over a longer period of time, and actually in turn make your the cost of the software a lot more palatable for the organisation. One to pick up with my team, and certainly with the organisation. If you've got any questions, got renewals, or if you're looking at new licenses, by all means get in touch with the team. Another key announcement that goes hand in hand with this, really, so in terms of the multi-year agreements that are available from Autodesk, it has been announced that there's going to be a discount in the, or a reduction in a discount that you typically get with these. Usually there used to be a 10% off multi-year agreements, and this is now being reduced later on in the year. It's about November time, so by all means, if you've got renewals that are coming up towards the end of the year, early next, it's certainly worthwhile having a chat with the team and just see what it means for you. And on my final point, maintenance agreements, they are no more. So from the start of May, that was the last opportunity to trade those in and move across. Maintenance agreements are no more. If you do have those at all, or if you're still running those in the organisation, again, now's the time to get in touch with the team. There are potential opportunities in terms of how you can, I suppose, get across and move across to keep on the current version of software, but you'll need to speak to the team, and it's certainly one which we can work with Autodesk to see what we can do for you. So, before I hand over to our next speaker for the day, and Mark, please make sure that you do get in touch with the team. We have got the chat open, so please make sure that if you've got any questions as we go along today, drop those in either through the chat or drop us a call. We have got the team here available to talk to you throughout the day and make sure your questions are answered. I think it's really important because we are covering a hell of a lot of content over the next couple of hours and giving you a few snapshots in terms of what is available and what's going on, that we're not going to answer all questions straight away. So please make sure you get in touch with the team. We're more than happy to help. Enjoy the morning.